This conference will
Okay,
now be recorded.
from that, first one is association. So if it is association, it is used for associating between the objects or associating the data. Okay, so what are the different ways with which we can associate the data? We can associate one to one. That means, let's say there are two tables, table A and table B. Table A has one record. If table B is going to contain one record which is related to the table A, okay, if table B contains only one record which is related to table A, then that would be a one to one. That would be a one to one relation, and the association we say it as a one to one association. Similarly, we can have one to many. Okay, means for one record, for one customer record, we might have multiple sales orders. Okay, that means one to many relationship. Similarly, we can have many to one. Okay, if you come through sales table, okay, there can be number of sales orders but only one customer. If you want to relate between the transactional table and the master table, that will become many to one relationship. And similarly, we have many to many relationship. Okay, and many to many relationship, you can see this when you are working with sales head or sales line. There as well you will see one to many relationship. No, okay, the very in least cases we'll come across this many to many relationship. Okay, many to many relationship. I'm just thinking about the example address and the customer table. Okay, in customer table and address table, that will be the many to many relationship. There is not one to many, many to many. Okay, now in this fashion, if you find these are the types of relations that you can have, then we will use something called association. And in the real world examples, you can take number of examples. You can take a student and a teacher. Okay, because here one point you need to remember is the relation, whatever the relation that you are going to create, it will be one of the four types that you are seeing here. Okay, and the second one is called aggregation. What is the second one? The second one is called aggregation. Okay, aggregation will represent as a relationship. Okay, aggregation will represent has a relationship. Okay, and we will also call this aggregation as unidirectional association. Okay, aggregation is a unidirectional association. Okay, see here, why we are calling it as a unidirectional association means okay, see here, you will have two different objects or two different tables. Let's say you have a table A and table B. Okay, here if you have two different entries, they can survive individually in case of aggregation. What is surviving individually? Let's say you are deleting data of one table, then even then the data of the second table will be valid. Okay, if you are deleting a record from one table, even then the related table record will be valid. Okay, so this is what is the special case, which is why we are saying has a relationship. Okay, has a relationship, and this is about the aggregation. And there are two more special cases. One is called generalization and the second one is called specialization. Okay, now see here, let's say we have a tester. Tester is a, we have a developer, we have a lead, we have a manager. Okay, so these are the different roles that we have in a company. Let's assume all these roles I can generalize into one entity called employee. Employee. So if you have a group in this fashion, Okay, and you are generalizing it into one entity. We will call it as a generalization. Whereas specialization is the reverse process. So what is specialization? I have employee. So what I will do? I will divide this employee into tester. This employee into this employee can be subdivided into developer, and this can be divided into lead and then manager. This is specialization. Okay, this is specialization. So what is generalization? Generalization is a mechanism of combining similar group of objects into single entity. Okay, if you have a requirement wherein you would like to combine the data into one entity, okay, you will use generalization. But remember, in Dynamics 365, generalization is not available. Okay, and what is available? The available one is specialization. Okay, if you have a data wherein, let's say you have an employee and you want to group it into multiple things, then you can do that in Dynamics 365, but you can't group all of them into one. Okay, at that time you need to use association, but which is of no meaning. Okay, it's not meaningful, I can say. You can use that by using a many to one relationship, but it is not meaningful as generalization. Okay, so what is generalization? Mechanism of combining similar classes into one object. Okay, one object. What is specialization? It's the reverse process of generalization. Okay, it's the reverse process of generalization, creating a subclasses from the existing class. From employee we are creating tester, developer, lead, manager. This is specialization. We are creating a subclasses from the existing classes. And similarly, you can take one more example here. You can take the example of a student. Okay, student can be a ex-student or he can be a current student. Okay, now if you take this ex-student and current student, if you are dividing it from the student, that will become specialization. Similarly, if you are combining ex-student and current student and you are creating a one entity called student, that will become generalization. Okay, so this is what is specialization and generalization. Okay, and the next one is called composition. What is that? Composition. So in case of composition, this will represent part of relationship. So part of means one entity cannot exist without another entity. You will have the strong dependency between the entities. Okay, let's say you take the human being as the example for this. We have hands, legs. Is that right? So now, can hand exist without the human being person? No. Like this indicates the part of relationship. This will indicate the part of relationship. Similarly, you can take the example of a library and a books. Without library, books cannot exist, and without books, library cannot exist. These are interdependent. If you have the information, the interdependent information between two tables, then you are going to use a relationship called composition. When you are using the composition between two different entities, then the composite object cannot exist without the other entity. Okay, these two entities are tightly bound to each other. Okay, please remember. And the next one is link. What is a link? If you want to create a link between two tables, then you will use the link. Okay, just to identify the records, we are going to use this link. Okay, next, this is about the different types of relationship types. Okay, now we are done with this. The next node you can see as the delete actions. See here, up to AX 2012, we used to define delete actions in the parent table. Okay, we used to define delete actions using this node, and then we will define the delete actions in the parent table. Whereas coming from Dynamics 365, we are going to define delete actions in the child table itself. Delete actions are also defined in child table. Now, how to define these delete actions and what are the different types of delete actions? See here, first type of delete action is called none. What is none? That means, let's say there are two tables, table A and table B. Deleting a record in the table A will not do anything in the table B. This is called none. Okay. And first of all, if I say delete action, you might get it out. Oh, what he is saying? What is this delete action? And when we will use it? Okay. This is one more question that we get usually. Okay. So what is the delete action? See here. Let's say we have two tables. Okay. We have two tables. Let's say we have the customer table. Okay. And then we have the sales table. Okay. And let's say we have the sales line. These are the three tables that we have. I want to consider these three tables. Now I want to delete the record in sales table. Okay, because a lot of times the people will add on the cart and they will not purchase anything. Whenever they are adding on the cart, what I'm doing is I'm creating a record in the sales table. So what I want to do, I want to delete the data in sales table. So whatever the items that they will add to cart, that will go in the sales line. All this is the useless data. If they are not bought, I am not going to pay anything to the government, no GST, nothing. Then why I need to maintain those records? It's not needed. If I need to maintain the transactions, if they bought something, then only I need to maintain. But this is not the case here. So now what I should do? I need to delete the records in sales table, and then I need to delete the records in sales line. Okay, delete the records in sales line. So what are the ways? The first way is go and delete the records in sales table one by one. Go and delete the records in sales line one by one, or multiple at a time. That's up to you. But if you are deleting in the sales table, after that if you are deleting in the sales line, what will happen? There is a possibility that you might miss few number of records. There is a possibility that you might miss few number of records when you are deleting the stuff. That will mess up the things. You have the orphan records. Okay, to avoid this kind of orphan records, Dynamics X came up with a solution. The solution is delete action. So what does this delete action does? Whenever you delete a record in the parent table, you can choose whether to delete the record in the child table or not. Okay, because you can use this delete actions with a number of tables. You can do that. Okay, now see here. From that, the first type of delete action is called none. Okay, when a record is deleted in the parent table, you don't want to delete the records in the child table. You want to keep the orphans as is. Then you will select none as the delete action. Second one is called restricted. What is second one? The second one is called restricted. When the record is deleted in the parent table, check for the existence of record in the child table and don't allow deletion of record in the child table. This is called restricted. Okay, let's see that. I am creating, okay, we have anyway sales table. Okay, I need sales line as well. Okay, I'm creating one more table here. Add new item, and then you have the data model, and then let me take the table. Let me call this as sales line, Amazon sales line. Click on the add button. See here, the class will start at sharply at 8 a.m. So please join on time. Now, I think we need a few more fields. Let me check. What are the fields that we need to add? Order ID, line ID. This line ID, if you want to add, you can add it. Otherwise, it is not needed. And then, oh, we need inventory ID. We need to create the inventory table, commodity, amount. Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. For the time being, I will not create this inventory ID. Okay, I will create it later on once again. Okay. Order ID, line ID, quantity, line amount. Let me create an EDT and let me call this as EDT string AMA line ID. Okay. Anyways, for sales ID, I don't want to create the number sequence, so I'm dragging up dropping this directly because, anyways, okay. But please remember, if you want to define the number sequence, then obviously what you need to do? You should not do like this. Okay. Instead of that, you need to create a AMA sales ID foreign key, and then you need to use it. And AMA line ID, I am taking this, and I want to take the line amount. Where is the line amount? We have created a real type of EDT. This is my line amount, and then I have quantity. Okay. For quantity, I will define an integer. Or do we have it? EDT integer. Yeah. Credit point zip code I have defined now. I will define one generic integer. Click on the add new item. Or you can do one more thing. If you don't want to define the generic integer, you can create simply use new integer, and you can go to properties. You can call this as quantity, and then here you will have the EDT. You will have the generic EDTs. No, let me check. Integer. Okay, let me use this integer. Okay, you can do this as well. That's up to you how you want to define. Okay, and this is generic amount. I will call this as line amount, and this is line ID. Actually, this is not needed, but I want to define some unique value, so I have given line ID. This is sales ID. Done. Okay. Now I will create a relation. New relation, and I will take this as a sales table cardinality. For one record in sales table, there can be 0 or more. Related table cardinality will be exactly 1. Relationship type, it's a one-to-many relationship. And then related table, AMA sales table. And then you can create a new normal relation, and you can take the field as sales ID, related field as sales ID. Okay, done. So solution explorer, and let's do one thing. In the sales table, I will go to the properties of this relation. On delete, by default it is none. I told you that if you use none, orphan records exist in the child table, so I don't want to use none. Now we know about the second one, which is called restricted. I am setting the restricted. Restricted means if a record is deleted in the parent table, don't delete it in the parent table. Check for existence of records in child table. If the records exist in the child table, don't allow deletion. Okay. Now let me do a rebuild. Okay. So this is about the restricted delete action. Let it rebuild. It will take anyway some time. The next one is called cascade. So what is cascade? Means cascading the deletion. Cascading the deletion means if records are deleted in parent table, delete associated records in the child table. If you want to delete the records in the child table, if the records are deleted from the parent table, then you need to use a delete action called cascade. Then you need to use a delete action called cascade. Okay. So let it build. Once the build is finished, we will discuss the delete actions.
Kumar, can you please repeat the restricted one?
Okay. Now see here. Let's say there is a sales table and sales line. Okay. Now you are deleting the records from sales table. And for the relevant record, if there is a record in the sales line, you should not allow deletion. Okay. If there exist child records, then you should not allow deletion from the parent. Then we will use a delete action called restricted. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So, Kumar, one question, like none also doing the same thing only, right? It's not deleting orphan records. So what is the
No, no,
difference
no.
between none?
None what none will do, if you set it to none and if you delete the record in the parent record will
Mhm,
get deleted, whereas child records will remain
mhm.
as is. That means in the child,
So this,
orphan records are left.
yeah. Okay, so what is the difference between restricted and, like, I got having some
Okay,
confusion because
let me tell you.
restricted, like,
Let's say you have sales table and you have the sales ID 1. For this sales ID 1, we have sales line and we have for this sales ID 1, 1, 1. There are 3 records. Now, if you apply the none and let's say you have deleted record from sales table, okay, what it will do? Record 1 will be deleted from sales table. Okay. Now what happens to this 1, 1 on sales line? They will remain as is. Okay. They will remain as is. Now this is restricted. Let's take the same scenario. What it will do? In sales line, you have the 1, 1, 1. You have deleted record from sales table. Check if related record exists in sales line. And here there will be 2 conditions. If exist, restrict the deletion. Okay. Else means there are no related records. Delete parent. Got it?
oh, okay, got it. So it will if there's no or like data on the child then only will delete the parent. Yeah, I got it.
Exactly. Otherwise, what it will do? It will restrict. Okay. The build is
Yep.
finished. Now let me open the tables and we will see now. Okay. I'm opening the table browser for both of them. Just a second. Okay. Now you can see here in sales table we have one record, or let me select one customer ID. Come on. Oh, we have set it to cache, which is why we are getting only one record. It's fine. Let me create one more record for the same customer. Oh, this should be customer, and this should be 1003. And this slowness I found in the latest version, whereas in the previous versions it was faster compared to this one. Okay. But whereas if you see each and every time it says we are processing the request, I found only this version, this slowness. Okay. Yes, 1002, and then customer total amount is 1500. Let's say. Okay. Actually, later on we can see how to write the code. You can populate the total amount directly from the line. Okay. Click on the new button. I will say this is 1000. Line ID, I will say L1001. Quantity, I will say 10. Okay. Don't say that amounts are not matching. I'm just adding the dummy data. Okay. For testing purposes. Now it will populate the records from sales table. You can see 1001. And then now you can see here, I'm saving this. Now I have one record for S1001. Okay. Now what I will do is, I will save this. I will go to sales table. S1002 is selected. I am deleting this. Okay. It is asking, are you sure you want to delete all market records? I will say yes. Now I have S1001. There is related record in child table, which is sales line. What I will do is, I will mark this and I will select the delete button. What did it say? Delete dependent AMA sales line and try again. Okay. Now what I will do is, I will create one more record for testing purposes. I will say 1000 again. I will say L1002 and I will say some 5. I will take S1001. Okay. And then I will save this. New, this time I will say some 500 L1003 1, yes, 1001. Okay. Save. Now what I will do is, I will create one more record here. I will call this as 1003 here. I will say picked. Yes, 1002. Sales type, customer. Done. Save. Okay. Total amount, I can give some value. I will say 1500 and save. Okay. Now I want to open the customer table. Open table browser. Or let's do one thing. We will discuss cascade and then we'll go there. Okay, instead of confusion. Now see here, the next type of deletion is called cascade. Cascade means cascade the deletion. Means if you delete the records in the parent table, all the records related to the parent table are deleted, and in the child table as well, the relevant rows will get deleted. Now see here, for the same sales line, I will go to the properties. I will remove this restricted. I will make it cascade. Save. Now let me do a rebuild. Okay. Let it build. In the meantime, we will see one more. Cascade restricted. Okay. So for this delete action, frankly speaking, in lot of blocks, they will say that if you do through code, it will be cascade. If you do through tables, it will be restricted. That is not the case. Okay. You will find in blocks, in some blocks, they will write the same things, but that is not right. Okay. Cascade plus restricted, different delete action will work in a different fashion. Okay. Let's say we have customers table, and then we have sales table, and then we have sales line. Okay. Now let's say we have implemented cascade restricted between sales table and sales line, and cascade between customers and sales table. Now what will happen is, when you delete a record in the sales table, it will go and check for records in the sales line. If the records are there, then it will restrict the delete action. Okay, if you're deleting a record in the customer table, then what will happen? It will go and check if there are any relevant records in the sales table, and then it will go and check if there are any relevant records in the sales line, and it will delete the whole set of records from all the three tables. Whereas if you delete a record in the sales table, it will check if record exists in the sales line, and then it will restrict the deletion. This is what is cascade restricted. Okay, but in most of the blocks they will say if you use from the code it will be cascade, whereas if you delete from the table it will be restricted. That is not the case. Please remember this. This is very, very important. Okay, now, okay, it's still building. This is about the delete actions. Okay, we will see this delete actions. Okay, hey, I got some ping. I'm not able to hear audio from laptop. Due to this issue, I'm connecting mobile. Can you please check? What do you want to check here? Because laptop is with you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, Kumar. Actually, what happened? I'm trying to connect to laptop. I'm not able to get the audio from laptop actually. So due to that, I'm
because
connecting mobile and then hear the voice. Yeah.
yeah, because what you need to do is you need to check what is the problem with your laptop. If everyone else can hear the audio and you have the problem with your laptop, no, then they can't help.
Okay, I thought some settings will be there from the go to meetings. That's why I'm
No,
asking.
no, there will
Yeah.
be no settings from the GoTo meetings. Okay, so what are the settings that will be there? You can say this. Okay, here you can find the settings, camera and audio settings. You need to set up here. Okay, here you can click on this play button. It will open the settings for you. Here you need to check.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, if you can check whether if you click on this, the sound should get played, and when you speak something, the mic should get here. You should get green color. These are the only things that you need to check. Okay.
Okay, I'll check from my side. 1 second. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, please. Okay, it's taking some time. Good, it got completed. Now let me open the sales table again. Open table browser. Just a second, it will load. And then let me open sales line. Now here we have cascade delete action. We will see what happens. Okay. Now I am going to the parent table. I have the 1003 record here, and sales ID is West 1001. Okay. I will delete this S1001 record. Delete. Click on the yes button. Now the record got deleted from here. Now here, let me refresh. Everything got deleted. This is what is cascade deletion. And the last one is cascade plus restricted. Okay. Now let me open the sales table. Open. And here you need to go to the relations. On the customer, go to properties. On delete, you need to set it to cascade. Save. And sales line, sales table, you need to set it cascade restricted. Save. Done. Okay. Now again we need to do a rebuild. This is for cascade restricted delete action.
Hello.
Yep.
I have a doubt on relationship type property. Actually, for what purpose that property is used?
See here, the relationship property is used to indicate how the records are organized between two tables. Okay. Because for example, let's take you have the customer table and sales table. In one record in customer table, you will have multiple records, multiple sales orders. Okay. One customer, multiple sales orders. Here it is a one-to-many relationship. Like this, to just indicate what is the type of records. Okay, what are the type of records between these two tables? How they are organized. To indicate that, we will use the relationship property. Okay.
When exactly this property is used, and what if we don't
All the
set this
time.
property?
All the time you need to use that. Okay. All the time you need to set that property. Whoever work on AX 2012, all the time we will not use that property, but it should be set all the time. Okay. Because if you are using the relation, you are saying that I'm going to have the records in this table which are related to some another table. Is that right? Then what you need to do? You need to specify what is the kind of relationship of the data between both the tables. Okay. Just a second. Hey, sorry, I need to join some urgent call at 8:45. So I will explain this cascade restricted tomorrow. I will create the data as well. Okay. Yeah. Please let me know if you have any queries.
No,
And
Kumar, all good.
all good? Okay. What about others? If there are no queries, I will end session for everyone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow,
Thank you.
same time. And if you have any queries, please ping me on WhatsApp as well. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Kumar.